All right, so this morning we are going to finish reading Wolf Island. Remember, this is a nonfiction book, but it kind of tells the story of a wolf, but in a nonfiction sense also that it's given me facts about this wolf. So remember that the wolf that we're reading about is what they call a lone wolf. So it has gone to live by itself, and it has learned how to survive and adapt to its surroundings, to what it needs. So let's figure out where we were. I think it was right here. Wolves are expert fishers. When a wolf sees a salmon swimming upstream, he plants his paws on the riverbed and bites at the fish until he catches it. Then he tears off the fish's head, sucking up all the fatty brains inside. Ew! A hungry wolf will eat hundreds of salmon between August and December. Other animals eat salmon too. Bears devour them. I like that word, devour. That's a good word. Birds, from eagles to ravens, eat the parts of the salmon the wolves leave behind. That's why you often see flocks of birds near a fishing wolf. The island wolf was thrilled to see the salmon. He knew they would keep coming for months, and he would keep eating them. What he didn't realize was that when he ate the salmon, he fed the rainforest too. What he didn't eat, the birds ate, and what the birds didn't eat, insects and worms ate. They, in turn, enriched the rainforest soil by breaking down what was left of the fish into fertilizer, which then nourished the tall trees growing out of the soil. Every bit of the salmon was used by someone or something. Nothing was wasted. In nature, nothing ever is. Then right in the middle of fishing season, something wonderful happened. For the first time since the wolf arrived on the island, he sensed that another wolf was nearby. Maybe it was the wolf he was waiting for, the wolf who would become his mate. He was right. A female had arrived on the island. She, like the male wolf, had struck out on her own because she wanted to start her own family. She hoped there would be a male wolf on the island who would become her mate. She missed the family she had left behind, but she also was eager to explore her new home. Meanwhile, the male wolf was feeling more satisfied than ever. His stomach was full of salmon, and he knew that somewhere on the island was another wolf. If only he knew where he or she was. It took a while for the wolf to get from one end of the island to the other. Every so often he stopped to sniff at the sand or a tree trunk to catch the scent of the other wolf. His sense of smell was thousands of times better than a human's. If the female wolf also sensed there was another wolf on the island, maybe the ravens would help her find him, since they often point island wolves to food. They know the wolves will open the seal or whale or sea lion carcass with their sharp teeth and make the meat available to birds too. So the female wolf thought they might point her to the male. I think that's interesting how the raven bird can make its sounds or whatever it does to let the wolf know it's there. So I can conclude that the animals work together to get their food. That's kind of interesting. They did. The male wolf saw the female on a beach in the bright fall sunshine. It didn't take them long to approach each other. They nuzzled and licked each other and sniffed each other's fur. The male wolf was sure he had met his mate, and the female was sure she had met hers. From that moment on, they went everywhere together. The island was theirs now. They would spend the coming winter eating deer and whatever the sea brought them, and they would wait for their pups to be born the following spring. Very soon, they would be the proper family. The wolf pups were born early the following year in a well-hidden den at the base of an ancient cedar tree. There were 2 males and a female, and they were no bigger than slippers when they were born. But thanks to their mom's rich milk, they soon grew to be the size of footballs, and then bigger than that. In a matter of months, they were sturdy enough to go outside, where their parents taught them how to dig for clams, search for deer, and tear the flesh off a dead seal. Everything the parents taught the pups showed them the importance of family and togetherness. They learned that a wolf family works best when it works as a team. A year later, the pups were almost fully grown, and a new set of pups were being raised in the den. By this time, the yearlings could do everything their parents did. Best of all, they could take part in deer hunts. But because they were island wolves, they also knew its sea and its riches. One day, they watched as a pod of killer whales chased a sea lion onto the shore. If the wolves were lucky, the sea lion would be theirs to eat. Like their parents, the pups grew to know every square inch of the island home. Everything a wolf needed to survive and thrive was here and there in abundance. Abundance meaning what? So, what do you think abundance means? It says it had everything they needed. Everything they needed to survive and thrive was there in abundance. Abundance means like a bunch of. Do you hear that word bunch in there? I mean, in a lot. Except for one thing, mates. The pups knew, just as their father had, that if they stayed where they were, they would always be part of his family and would never have pups of their own. For that to change, they would have to do what their father and mother had done and leave this place for another. But were they willing to do that? Only time would tell. In the meantime, they continued to enjoy the island for the bounty it had to offer. What do you think bounty means? The bounty it had to offer. Yeah, like all the great things like the food and the trees and all the stuff. All the things the island had. And the wolf, who started the whole thing, had the satisfaction of knowing he had done everything he'd set out to do. He knew the island was a place of wonder where creatures of many kinds lived and ate and gave birth. But for him, the most important thing was his precious family of the great bare rainforest island wolves. Okay, so let's take a few minutes and let's talk about, yesterday we kind of talked about the author's purpose of this book. And we think that I think that his purpose, not his message, but his purpose was to either inform me or teach me about something. I don't think he was explaining to me anything, but I think he was really just informing me about a wolf and their life. If I had to say anything about how they create a family and how they survive. And so I would say more on the explain side would be his purpose of writing this book. Now, because he wrote it in a narrative story and it was like the story of a wolf, it was kind of entertaining because it told the story of a wolf and how he created a family and how he got to his own island and became a lone wolf. But I think for the most part, he wanted to explain something to us or teach us. Maybe not even teach, because he didn't teach us how to do something, but explain to us about a wolf and how it survives and adapts to its surroundings. And there was text evidence to show that. Like, there was lots of parts where he explained the wolf going off. There was lots of parts where he explained the wolf learning how to survive on the island and all of those things. And so lots of text evidence to prove his purpose. The next thing I want to talk about is the author's message, and we're going to have a lesson on that in just a minute. But for this book right here, what do you think the author's message is? Remember, in nonfiction, message doesn't mean like I learn a lesson from the wolf. Like, what did the wolf or the characters teach me? But in nonfiction, it's more of like, what was the big idea? Like, what was the overall idea that the author wanted me to learn from the book Wolf Island? So I want you to think about that. In the next video, we're going to talk about what we think that is.